Hello, 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 everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. And welcome to this conversation that we're going to have today. Once I can get the advert stupidity out of the way on my own video. I didn't think I set that up on that. My apologies. Let's click that button. There we go. Welcome. I kind of wanted to come on to you today and talk to you about the evolution of something that I developed over the course of the last few days and the space that it's coming from, and how I just wanted to take this and make it into something bigger for everybody who is interested in the work that I've done in the past. Perhaps some of you have come to me for this very same reason in the past, and I'll explain that here in a moment. And I wanted to take it and make it into something bigger and more helpful to all of you. And so you're probably sitting there scratching your head going, yeah, but I don't really know what the hell you're talking about. Hey, hello, everybody. Hello, Antonino. Good to see you here. So let's talk about what I'm actually talking about rather than beating around the bush, right? So starting back in about 2020, yep, that monumental year that none of us really likes to talk about, and a lot of us that would like to forget, but which ultimately changed a lot of lives. Back in 2020, I found myself in a position where I was suddenly being approached by a lot of people who were really looking to take their life in a completely different direction. A lot of people had been in a position where they were having to stay at home from work. Some people lost their work, and it prompted a lot of people to really rethink things about how they interacted with the work world, or how they interacted with their own inner purpose, which is really at the root of it. And so it really changed a lot of people and a lot of people's lives in that particular manner, and gave a lot of people food for thought, which a lot of people took some positive steps with that particular scenario, and decided they were going to try to connect more deeply with their purpose and find a way to connect that purpose that they felt inside of them to the world at large. So back to the story, I found myself inundated with a lot of people who were going, I want to find out how to start my own business, or how to become self-employed, or how to take this calling that I'm feeling inside of me and take it into the world at large. But I'm somewhat uncertain about that calling. I'm not really sure about that. And so I need I'm hoping you can tell me a little bit about that, or I'm hoping you can tell me what my skills are or what my gifts are. I think I have an inkling, but I'm not really 100% sure. And prior to that, I did already have a technique that I was using in terms of determining career. And it's interesting because that particular technique is also really a way of understanding a person's purpose, understanding who they are, and taking that and manifesting it into the world at large. I'm just writing something down here for myself. Those two techniques are one and the same. So who you are inside of yourself and fulfilling that, which is ultimately the greatest concept of success, is equally a very similar thing to who you are on the career front. It's just that quite often we take that concept and we fit it into a mold because we think that we have to, until and unless we decide to break that mold. And some people don't want to break that mold, and that's absolutely fine. It's okay to do that. Some people are happy to take their calling and fit it into something, on a larger scale, because they find that that's a greater way to do that. Either way is really fine. The concept is, I found myself in a position where loads of people were looking to do something independent, or were looking to see if the position they were in was actually the right position for them. So I suddenly had a chance to connect with my career analysis technique on a much deeper level, and found myself in a position where I was having an opportunity to fine tune it to a greater level. And it was a technique that was already taking me a good 90 minutes to prep for, because here's the thing is when it boils down to the concept of what a person should do for a living, it should be taken seriously. And I find sometimes people want to use snapshot techniques for things like that. And snapshot techniques, which for those of you who aren't familiar with what snapshot techniques are, they're quick glance techniques in order to determine something. But questions like that we should never take lightly because they're really important. It's a powerful choice that you're making. It's a powerful thing that you're trying to understand. And it's important to take it seriously and take it to a very deep level. And I often jokingly tell my clients when you use a snapshot technique to determine career, that's the thing that'll make the astrologer go, oh, well, I can see that you're a musician. And it'll make you go, yeah, but I work at a fast food restaurant. And so, those are the things that are the difference between those things. You have to really take a complete approach to it. So I already had a really thorough technique that I was using for that. And I decided to fine tune it in order to determine like if, which path would be best for the person to find the greatest level of purpose and meaning from, which path would be greatest for them to find overall success from, and which path they could, actually even earn from or fulfill their needs from. If it was more a thing of not really wanting to make it into a career, but just wanting to understand if your purpose would fulfill your needs on a greater level. In either sense, I added those particular concepts to it and came up with something really super powerful and started working with that in what I called my complete career analysis consultation, which has then become the Success Empower Hour consultation, and which has now transformed into something else that I'm going to tell you about here in a moment, and which I'm really, really super excited about and happy to share with you. So I wanted to take that a step further. There are a lot of people who have come to me in order to tap into what they should do for a living or who they are inside of themselves, because really those two things are on a certain level one and the same. If we understand astrology, and there are some people who watch my channel who are newcomers to astrology and don't know things about houses, the first house is significant of the self. Interestingly enough, if you take that one and you add a 0 to it, you're taking that self to a higher level, which is on a certain level, the fulfillment of the self, which is on a certain level, the 10th house, which is also significant of success, which is often used for career, and which is also the house that signifies the fulfillment of our karma. So yes, fulfilling your karma and your purpose on a certain level are one and the same. So I decided to work on developing a concept that was a little more complete than just my Success Empower Hour, that took that on a greater level. And I gave it some thought and some reflection over the course of the last several weeks. And then suddenly an idea came to me I think it was over the weekend, maybe, or maybe even before that, a little bit before the weekend, I think, of how I wanted to move this forward into the world at large. And what I came up with is something called the Success, Purpose, and Prosperity Plan. I'm going to share a link with you in the chat window over to the side if it's something that you want to go check out, but I'll tell you a little bit about it as well. And I'm probably going to add some things to this package too. This is the initial launch of it. So with this, what we've got are 4 one-to-one consultations with me. And it's at a price that's cheaper than 4 one-to-one consultations usually cost. And we take specific steps over those 4 one-to-one consultations. The first step is finding out what your purpose is and knowing who you are here to serve through using your purpose, right? By putting your purpose into play or putting your purpose into action. So what that is a combination of my Success Empower Hour plus a few additional questions that I generally tend to approach clients with, which help us to determine who they're meant to take that purpose and serve on the greater level, right? Who are you here to help with your purpose? And sometimes that changes over the course of time. So we have to kind of ask ourselves those questions regularly. The complete career analysis side of things, or the technique that I do to determine like what your purpose is and those things, those will generally show the skills. What the second part of it is it shows who you're supposed to help with those skills, which is a little more of a defined niche with the work that you're here to do. So that's the first consultation, is knowing your purpose and who you're here to serve. And a successful career should be one that is built upon purpose and meaning. Now, the second step of this is understanding your karma around success. We have these things in astrology that are called the nodal axis. From the Vedic astrology perspective, they're called Ketu and Rahu. For those who are more familiar with Western astrology, that's the south and the north node. And in divisional charts in Vedic astrology, we have karma in many different areas of our life. So it's a process of understanding in the second consultation your karma around success. The things that hold you back from fulfilling your purpose and manifesting your purpose to the world on a grander level is understanding your karma around success, knowing your patterns, the things that hold you back, so that you can heal them so they don't hold you back anymore. In the third session, we take a similar approach, only in that session, it's around prosperity. What are the things that keep you from thriving on your path? What are the things that keep you from building a life of stability, fulfilling your purpose to the world at large? We get in on a really deep level and work with those things as well. And by the time we get to the fourth session, what we're doing is we're planning your path ahead over the course of the following year by looking at the periods of life that you're going through over the course of the year, the lessons that you're meant to learn, how best to integrate your plan during those particular periods of time. All of this is included in the Success, Purpose, and Prosperity Plan. It's 4 one-to-one sessions, and there are payment plan options that are available for you. So you can pay a really cheap price if you want to spread it out over several months. But to be quite honest, for what it is, for 4 sessions, it's not expensive at all. It's cheaper, as I said, than my one-to-one consultations, which I charge $149 for. So it's cheaper than 4 of those. So I think it's $579 for the 4-session package, but you can pay it off over the course of 6 months at $99 a month if you want to join in on that plan and get in there and tap into those things that you feel are holding you back, so that you can work on a deeper level to overcome those blockages that you're sensing and manifest your purpose to the world on a greater level. So I placed a link over in the chat window. If you're catching up on the replay with this, it'll be down also in the description area of the video. I want to thank everybody for coming on and spending some time with me today. If you have a question or two, I'll wait a few seconds if people want to pop a question in the chat window over to the right. With YouTube, there's always a lag quite often. So I may have said just a moment ago that you can pop a question in the chat window, but it'll probably take you up to 2 minutes to put that question in the chat window. So I always leave just a little bit of time where I babble on about a bunch of senseless things just to give you time to put a question in the chat window, which it should have been ample time by now. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and I will talk to everybody really soon. Take care. Bye now. Look for a full moon video in the coming days.